Hi, and welcome to Global Student Voices, the podcast that brings you exciting stories and invaluable insights from students, educators, and thought leaders around the world. I'm your host, Coach Martin, with 30 years of experience in international education. Join us each time when we navigate the exciting journey between international secondary school and university. Let's get started. All right. Welcome to the show, and welcome, Coach Ignacio. I'm very excited to have you on the show today. When I started thinking about doing a podcast, you were on the short list of people I wanted to make sure that I did, and I'm so grateful that I'm getting to have you on early in the cycle. So, welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you, Scott. It's a pleasure for me to be here. It's a pleasure for me to talk to the people that listen to these podcasts, these on the different platforms that you are publishing, because I think we are doing something amazing. We are dedicating our life to the next generation. We are leaving a legacy, and I think not many are doing that. Not many are putting the effort to leave something for the future. Many nowadays they don't want to get married. They don't want to have kids. They don't want to invest in the future. We are doing our best so the next generation receive this information, and the next generation have a bright future. And that's the reason why I'm here, why you're here, and I'm very passionate and very excited for this conversation today.
Yeah, that was very well said, because I think your example of somebody who grew up in Venezuela, then traveled abroad to study, and then continue to study and continue to travel and explore. You're kind of the quintessential global student. And so your voice is really the voice that I want to be amplifying with this show. And who we're talking to are students like you in high school and college, uh, and talking about what can happen, what can kind of giving students a glimpse into their potential future. Not that they'll be like either of us, but that they'll be their full version of themselves. And that's really exciting. And you do it in some ways that I think is just spectacular. And so
Thank you,
I
thank you.
want to get into that. But tell me, before we do that, let's talk just a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your story. Let people get to know you a little bit. Um, Kind of bring us down the road a little bit of the path that led you to where you are today.
Well, I'm original from Venezuela, from Caracas, the capital, and I'm a very creative person. I'm a dreamer, so I dream all my life and how to help people to be their best. I was very passionate about computers on that time. Computers started to, you know, be popular on the 90s, and I studied system engineer. That was my first career in the Metropolitan University there in Caracas. And during my studies there, I realized that I have this passion of helping others. I started using computer models to help people in the cafeteria talking about their life and things. And I took a training course on the 7 habits of the highly effective people.
Sure,
This
the
was
Stephen Covey.
on 1997. You can see the white hair in my head. 1997, I started with the habit of highly effective people from Stephen Covey, and I got passionate. Like I love it. I love it so much that I decided to study psychology. I did psychology in Venezuela. I did my master degree in uh, organizational psychology and ergonomics in Paris, France. And I did that master degree because I wanted to find the human potential,
Mm.
the best performance for all the things that you do in life. Well, be the best husband that you can be the best father that you can be. And And when I graduated from psychology, it was only about the the sickness, the pathologies, you know.
Yeah.
So when after I graduated as a psychologist, I said to myself, like, this was not the reason why I came to study psychology. The reason why I came to study psychology was to improve people's life, not just to heal them. So when I graduate, I did my work of grade, we call it thesis, and on competences, how to study people competence. On that time, the most advanced countries on education based on competences was Mexico and Australia, and I learned how to study the competences of the people, how to analyze those competences and build those competences to create curriculums to teach people to bring this to education. So I decided to go to Paris and do a studies in ergonomics. Ergonomics is the science of the human purpose. The translation of ergon is a work, but we think it was a mistranslation. It's not just work as it's more than that. It's the human purpose. It's how you use your mental, your physical, and your social capacities to do what God sent you to do.
Yeah.
And after I did economics, I started working with different corporations, Cargill, ConocoPhillips Petroleum, doing this analysis, these studies on their production line in different positions, in their offices, in their platforms, etc., etc. And I didn't like much the corporate world.
Mhm.
There is too much politics there. And as I mentioned to you, I have deficit attention and hyperactivity disorder. And one of the characteristics of this condition is that we don't play politics. We are our logic is too astray. So when you found inconsistencies on the behavior or the thinking process or the argument, I usually point it out. And that's not, they don't like it in corporate
No,
world.
that's not political savvy. He's politically savvy.
They don't like it in corporate world, but it's an amazing tool for one-on-one work. Because if you come to my session, you want me to point out the inconsistency in your thinking process, in your behavior, in your emotions, because you want to achieve your goal. So, as a coach, as a life coach, business coach, and nowadays as a mental performance coach for athletes and business champions, I have amazing tools to do that because it's natural for me to analyze a situation, to analyze a job position or a performance in any area in your life and point out those situations. And after 20 years of doing this, I have a lot of tools. I have a humongous toolbox
Tools, yes.
to help you on this. Sometimes it's so big that my clients say like, "Oh, wait."
It's one thing at a time.
One thing at a time. So there is my life. Nowadays, I work with athletes. My main tool is hypnosis. After doing works on cognitive behavioral therapy, psychoanalysis, I study all the psychoanalysis schools. I had the opportunity to work with the Freudians in Toronto. They have a nice school of Freudian psychoanalysis in Toronto. Also, Adlerian psychoanalysis. I work under the supervision of Dr. Dan Dalton. That is an amazing guy. He's already retired. He just passed the line of 80, and he was a director of the Adlerian School there. And I had the opportunity to be supervised by him. He was an expert on autism and also on Adlerian psychoanalysis. So after doing psychoanalysis, I decided to go into hypnosis because um, eh, when Freud was at the university, he studied hypnosis, but the legends say that he was so bad that he created psychoanalysis. So I study hypnosis, clinical hypnosis. Nowadays, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and also I'm an instructor. I teach other how to do hypnosis, and it's an amazing tool to help people especially athletes. Now it's getting very popular between highly professional athletes. You can search over Google and you will see a lot of athletes using hypnosis as a tool to reach the next level on mental performance. So
Yeah,
I think in general,
yeah, that is very interesting to me. I initially reached out to you some time ago, really intrigued by the sports psychology side of your work. Having been soccer and basketball coach, my son pursuing athletics even at the professional level, and just looking at what tools were out there, who was out there kind of helping with the mental game. And there obviously have been people doing that for a long time, but I think you come at it from a more holistic. I don't know a lot of them, so I won't say more than them. I'm just saying that in your case, I think it's a very holistic way of looking at sports performance, where, at least in my observation, the end result has to be not only better performance on your chosen field, but better performance as a human. It's a growth strategy that not only grows your sports performance, but grows your human performance. Um, and I'm just, I guess, maybe talk us through a little bit about, as a working either, let's start as a kind of the team side of things, because I know you do both team and individual performance enhancement. So if I have a team that's working with you, what are kind of some of the things that not to give away your trade secrets, but just an idea of how that works as a team to see performance enhancement for us. How would we move forward with you?
well, as I mentioned before to you, I I have studied a lot to reach this point. Okay, I was super afraid of public speaking. I was super afraid of my language. I when I was at a high school and at college, I always failed English.
Mm.
So I had this trauma about using English as a language. And nowadays I have a book, Work Life Balance Doesn't Work, that is in English. I do my presentations, but it's not something that just show up. I participate in Toastmaster for more than 7 years to reach certain level of language and presentation skills. So why I mentioned this? Because, well, for teams is what I do. I'm a public speaker. I go and I do presentation for teams. If they have an event, I go and I do a keynote speech. And also I have little workshops. I can prepare many type of workshops, um, and I have 4 of them ready for the teams. One is the power of the mind, where I explain how you use the power of the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind handles 90% of everything. Okay, and I do some exercise there during the presentation so that the athletes can notice how the unconscious mind control micro movements in the body that are very important for sports. I play with a pendulum. You can Google it. You can find this experiment in Google. When you put a pendulum and you start thinking, or you start putting this idea on the athlete, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, or right, left, you will see the pendulum moving. And it's like magic. All they have to say, wow, Ignacio, because I do this on Zoom. So my presentations, I do my workshops on Zoom. So they say, wow, how this guy can move this pendulum from his side of the computer. So it's like magic, but it's not magic. It's your unconscious mind controlling micro movements in your arms, in the muscles of your arms, that create this movement. And I'm influencing their brain to do this from the other side of the monitor. So just imagine if a golfer say, not to the right, 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 not to the right. The unconscious mind do not process no. So take out the no. What is the
Right,
unconscious
right,
mind
right.
hearing?
Yeah.
To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. So if you move the club just a little bit, just a little bit, the ball go to the right. And it's equal for basketball. If you move a little bit the wrist, it goes to the right. Soccer, your feet just move a little bit, the ball goes to the right. Baseball, you move the bat a little down, a little lower, it goes to the right. And those movements are created by the unconscious mind. So my first presentation, The Power of the Mind, is about that. It's about showing the kids how the unconscious mind, with just little instructions, can pull you off your game. The second one is about resilience. Resilience is a very important trait for athletes. Why? Because they fail all the time. You fail all the time. Don't believe that lie that you are the winner, that you are the champion. No. Like Michael Jordan, all the great guys all over the world, they miss shots. They miss passes. They miss like
Most of the time.
Tiger Woods lost all the balls. Like I remember my dad hated when I started playing golf because in Venezuela the balls, they were very expensive on those days, and I missed all the balls. So I got the trauma that my dad screamed at me every time I lost a ball. You know, that's part of the game. That's the game. The game, 90% of the game is losing the balls. So resilience is an important trait. Sure. Because you need to bounce back. You need to come back from that scream from your dad. The ball. You need to bounce back to be able to play. You need to play. One of the things that I teach my clients that play golf, you need to play each hole as the only hole. Doesn't matter the previous one, doesn't matter the future one. You're playing this hole. Mindfulness is very important for golfers. They just need to play that hole. So they need to bounce back all the time. Resilience is a very important trait. The next training is on attention. Attention is the most important thing that we have nowadays. Google wants your attention, Facebook wants your attention, YouTube wants your attention, all these games on your cell phone want your attention. Everybody wants your attention. Like, they are actually building their business on your attention. And when you're an athlete, you need to pay attention to your game. You cannot have your brain worrying about classes, about your girlfriend, about my dad that is outside looking at me, if I will be on the bench or not. My dad will scream at me because I was on the bench the whole game. Like, your attention needs to be on the game, on that ball, on your on the other people on the team. So attention is very important. That's my third presentation. The fourth one is on magnetic attitude. Magnetic attitude. The attitude of a person is magnetic in nature. You will attract people. You will reject people. Mm-hmm. It's not bad or good attitude. No, it's magnetic. So I teach them that it's important to know what you want to attract, why you want to repel using your attitude. And you need to attract your teammates. You need to attract your coach. You need to repel the other team. So you need to have certain attitude with each of the social members of that group. So you can, you are nice with your teammates, but you cannot be nice with the other team. So the other team need to be afraid of you, but your teammates cannot be afraid of you.
Yeah.
So on that presentation, I teach them magnetic attitude. And those are the 4 training for workshop that I use for teams that I create. Those 4. The first one as an introduction, and the other 3 because based on my experience, those are the 3 areas that an athlete need the most. When people come to my session, I have a 112 questionnaire that they fill up, and through that questionnaire, I know if the athlete need help on the attention section, on the resilience section, or in the attitude section. So when I receive the athlete, they do 2 assessment. They do one that is called the EDNA. That is one a test based on uh, chemical studies and a supercomputer, an AI computer that is in Spain. It's an amazing test. You report all the details of the athletes in their neurology cycle. And the other one is one that was developed by Johnny Nostrom. That is one of my mentor, and I use it to discover which of these three areas is more required to study and work with the athletes.
That's amazing. I think about the deficits that the teams I've coached in the past have had and the kind of things I wanted them to learn. And no question that those are, you've nailed exactly the areas where I either tried but didn't really have the tools or the words to communicate it clearly. And it would have been wonderful to have your assistance as a coach working with there, because I think you're right. Those are the areas, and somebody like you who's taken the time to do all the research into what is the most effective ways to get the best performance out of individuals and teams, coming into work with a team just seems like a no-brainer. Hey there, GSV listeners. Before we dive back into our conversation, I wanted to take a moment to thank our incredible guests, the students, school officials, and thought leaders who inspire us with their stories and insights. As you're listening today, be thinking of ways that you can support the guests of this show. There are links in the descriptions with just some of the ways. I'm Coach Martin, your host and your partner in navigating the university journey. Whether you're exploring university options, preparing for admissions, or seeking support during your academic path, my books provide practical guidance and insights to empower your university success. Join me in individual coaching, group sessions, or courses designed to equip you for university life and beyond.
I am from Brazil, but I attended an American school in Indonesia for my secondary education. So you know my situation was really confusing and really scary. Coach Martin really understands global students, and he loves helping us out.
Again, thank you for listening. Explore the podcast description for links and resources and contacts discussed in today's episode. Visit www.theglobalstudentsolutions.com to learn more and embark on your journey toward university success. Now, let's return to our conversation. And you work with, I think I've heard you talk about working with professional athletes. You worked with colleges, high schools as well?
Yeah, I start. Sometimes I receive kids, and if a 10 years old, and I evaluate them to see if they are mature enough. Okay. For example, my boy Samuel, he is 12, and he's a case. He's like, he have it all the negative side. Like God assigned it to me. Like, here we go. Here's your kid. Let's see if you can do it. So, and people ask me, have you started working with Samuel? He's not mature enough. Okay, mentally he's not there yet. He need to enjoy how he's living right now, because he's 12, but he have his brain is a little 10ish, 11, and I will wait. I will wait at least for a year for Sammy. But there are some 8 years old that they are super mature, and they will listen instructions and process, because this is a program where the person need to know how to follow instructions. Okay.
Yeah.
So if the kid know how to follow instructions, and I take it. Okay. So usually for team talks, for this presentation that I do with the teams, I prefer 14 up. Okay. And my oldest client was 87. So golfer, 87 years old. So from 14 up. Okay. Those are my clients.
That's your range.
If they know how to follow instructions, they are my clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. So basically, every school that's listening, whether it's a university or a secondary school, needs to get on your list for all of their sports and just work you until you have to say no to any more requests.
I'm building a team, man, because I think on this, yeah, of course, it's a business. I have 2 kids, a wife, a dog, a big house here in Florida. I need to think of my business, but also I think this is a passion. This is my purpose. God sent me to do this. God sent me to help people on use a sport as a simulation for their life. I think this is a great opportunity to work with humans that are in an age that they are absorbing a lot of information. So the sport is an excuse to teach them how to live life, because these skills they will use it in their marriage, they will use it with their kids in the future, they will use it in their companies. And let me tell you something, Scott, schools are not teaching these things. They are not being prepared for the future they have. Corporations are having a lot of trouble to hire people that is responsible, disciplined, that follow instructions, that know how to use a calendar, that how to use basic things that, as I mentioned to you, I didn't know. I didn't know because I had a deficit attention and hyperactivity disorder. Actually, I have it in if you put me into you will see the ring of fire. It's called what I have. I have my brain is active all the time, and I was set for failure at the beginning, but I learned the tools. I learned the tools to be disciplined, to understand calendars, to understand when I was when I started school, and I'm not saying you guys that you need to use this technique, but when I start the university, I had a girlfriend in each class because I didn't know how to reach the classes. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't have a calendar. I didn't. The university was so big, all these rooms. I didn't know which room I need to go where. So I developed this technique of just waiting on the cafeteria for the girl that I was in that class, and I just follow the girl.
Just follow her.
But I grow. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have a life project, and I learned the tools that I needed to learn to be in a corporate world, to be a psychologist, to don't miss appointments, don't miss this important podcast interview, because that is what it builds your profession, it builds your relations, it builds your connection with others. So I learned it, and I'm a testimonial that any kid can learn these tools to improve their physical performance, their technical performance, and their mental performance. That's the success triangle. I explained this on my presentations. If you want to be successful as an athlete or any section of your life, you need to master your technical performance, your physical performance, and your mental performance. Those are the 3 sections that I study as an ergonomist. I study biomechanic, so your body and how you organize your body, your mental, your brain, how you conceptualize the world and how you relate to the world based on your mind, and your technical is the social connection, how people around you conceptualize the soccer game. Well, this is the rules, this is the time, we have 45 here minutes and rest time 45. So socially, what are the rules to engage with others? And that applies to corporation. When you go into a job, you need to have a physical performance there, you need to have a mental performance, and you need to have a relationship with others. You need to understand how that business works. In a family, in any endeavor in your life, you need to perform well in those 3 sections, and that's what we're doing with kids in athletics, and helping them to have these skills for life.
I think that's the big takeaway of thinking of athletics as a simulation of every other aspect of your life, and as you develop success, however you define success, as you develop success in athletics, that you're training yourself for success in all of life. And it's not just about winning a game, but it's about improving those technical, physical, and mental attributes, and building that part of yourself. I think that's well said, Coach. I think that's fantastic.
Let me tell you something that will the things that we are teaching will not only fix the individual life. I think it's something that socially is affecting us a lot. And I don't want to get too much into politics, okay? Because I know that right now is a delicate topic. But let's ask you just this question, okay? Who is the captain of a team? Who is the captain of the team? It's because he have more money. It's because he have more. It's black. It's white. It's a girl. It's a no. The captain of the team is the person that performed best and show the team the best techniques to win. That's the captain of the team. It's not because he tell better jokes. It's not because it's do better interviews or argue in front of people the best way. No. It's the best person for the team, and we need that in society again.
Yeah.
Like we need the best person of a community to be in the HOA, in the management of the community. And it's the same for each section of social life. We need to start going back to basic, going back to the way that we connect to each other, and find the best people on each section of our community, in our schools, in our property management group, to find the captains.
Mm.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not measuring anything here. But that's basic, man. It's basic, and kids need to learn that, because in the last 50 years, we lost that in some points, not only here in the States. I can be your testimony from Venezuela, from France, from Canada. I live in France, I live in Canada, now I live in the States. And I can give you testimony of that's an issue all over the world. So we need to go back to basic. And I'm not telling you that everybody needs to be a champion. Like, you don't need to be Messi, Tiger Woods. You don't need to, no. It's one of the things that I learned when I did my study in competences. Competences, a person is competent in an area of life when it's over the 10% of the average. You just need to be 10% over average. That's it. In anything that you do in life, I'm not competent in everything, but everything that I do, I'm competent. You can see my DJ panels there. I'm competent doing DJ.
Yeah.
I'm a competent psychologist. I'm a competent. So just be over the 10%. You will be a champion. Like just if you are over the average, just 10% over the average, you will get a scholarship. You will get into university. You will get into a good job. I'm not telling you that you need to be because that's the other lie. You need to be the best of the best, or you are a loser. I don't know if you know this study that people that is in second place when they win, like goal, the person that is in second place is more frustrated than the person that is in third place psychologically.
Yeah.
The person that is in third place is happy that is in the podium. Is happy. Okay, I'm in the top 3. I'm very happy. The person that is in second is frustrated because it's not in first. Not interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's another lie that I work a lot with my athletes. You don't need to be the best of the best. You need to be part of the team. That's the important part. Even if you're in the bench, be the best bench teammate. Even if you're just in the bench, develop things that are needed on the bench. Talk to others, analyze the game, observe the game. When the other players come to the bench, make comments. You did well here. You need to change this here. Like each player on the team has a place. I always say to my athletes, just be in the team. And when you are in the team, be in the team.
Yeah.
Be part of the team. If you are not the superstar in the team, you are in the team. You are part of that team. That superstar is depending on you to listen to your comments when it's coming to the bench. So be in the team.
Yeah, and all those areas that you talked about, those 4 areas that you talked about, apply to both the superstar, the high flyer person that everyone's talking about, but they apply to literally everyone on the team. Every coach, every assistant coach, every bench player, whether or not they ever see daylight in terms of game time, all of those skills, they have to be paying attention and engaged in the game and physically involved. Whether or not they get called in to actually touch the ball game day, the value they bring in terms of practice and emotional support and team camaraderie and all those things that add to the greatest, most successful teams apply to literally everyone who's a part of the team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very, very, very important.
Well, we've gotten some great nuggets, and I hope that people are taking those away and will reach out to you to have you work with their teams. We are going to have you back on the show because I still want to talk about Work-Life Balance Doesn't Work, which I think is an incredibly engaging book, and we definitely want to talk about that. But today I wanted to talk about this teamwork because I do think this is the one that as far as a society we need the most, and I know that as it's also the easiest in a sense. It's really important and it's relatively easy to implement. Like this is something that every school can immediately engage in and say, hey, I want to build our teams like this to get the full potential in our team platform, because it does simulate life and it does represent the school. Team sports do set a tone for a campus, and I believe that as a school principal, that my athletic teams and how they perform and all had an impact on the whole campus, and they impacted our academic abilities, our extracurricular, socially. When our teams were healthy, not necessarily won everything, but when they were healthy members of our community, then our whole campus community was enriched.
Yeah. And if you invest in the mental performance, if you invest in my program as a principal of a high school, a college, you will see it not only on the team, you will see in the whole school, because those mental process, they will spread like a virus, because they're very simple tools, like just passing the bottle from left to right, left to right, left to right, that activate your is a brainwave stimulation, a bilateral stimulation. You do that simple thing for 2 minutes before a test, before a public presentation, before a band presentation, before a speech and debate presentation. Like that will set a relaxing tone, so you will be more calm to do your presentation. Those techniques, you can apply it all over the school. And if your team is doing it, if your team is learning it, people will start commenting. You do this exercise with a bottle before your presentation, before your speech and debate, before, like, is something that it will apply everywhere. And you mentioned before this call where people can go if they need my. So as I mentioned to you, I have a speaker business. I do keynote speech. I do this workshop. If you go to ignaciosegovia.com, my speaker business is there. If you go to Mental Performance 365, is the company. My team is there helping people. Mentalperformance365.com, and I'm here to help you guys to develop this capacity. So for that reason, in Mental Performance 365, I'm hiring ambassadors, branding ambassadors from high school and from college, that they can work with me. I'm teaching them how to do the sell right now, but my vision is that they can be trained on the 4 workshops. So my idea is that these athletes in the future, they can do the power of the mind, resilience, attention, and magnetic attitude by their own. I will teach them how to do these presentations. There are text down, write it down, so I can teach them how to do it. The idea is that I create an army of at least these 4 presentations, because they are the basic.
Yeah,
they are the basic. People think they know how to breathe. No, they don't know.
Right.
They don't know that there's different type of breathing from the chest, from the diaphragm, that you can have a communication with your body, with your breathing process. I want to give these basic things because when kids arrive to my sessions, I need to teach them how to drink water, how to breathe, how to sleep at night. Those are basic things. I want to do more advanced things on
Yeah.
them. So if I can give this training and teach these people how to do it, when my clients arrive, they already know what is mental performance. They already know what is the success triangle. So it's much easier for me to have this conversation with the athlete. I don't need to lose my first 2, 3, 4 sessions explaining these things because people we know.
They come in prepped.
Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
again, IgnacioSegovia.com and Mental Performance 365.
And I hope have those if you're watching this, then there's in the description, there'll be links to those websites, and you can get his books and all the things you need to begin to follow Coach Ignacio. Thank you so much for being on the show, and we will have you again soon.
Thank you, my friend. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning into Global Student Voices. We're committed to bringing you the best advice and to share stories for global students and educators. We need your help. Make sure you subscribe, share, rate, and review our podcast. Follow us on social media for more updates, and we'll see you next time. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.